How's it going, everyone? Happy Saturday. Turn up my volume just a little bit. So I put a link in the chat for you guys to just download that chart. It's Blues Volume 4, Example 10. We're going to go through that and talk a little bit about some really cool updates at iMusicAcademy, but right now I want everybody to download that. Let me know if you download it and just say, hey, I got it, no problem. And it should take you 10 seconds or so to download it. Just wanted to give that to you guys as we work through this stuff. I just did a live stream for 30 minutes for my email list, which is a couple thousand people, and realized when I got done that the top half of my keyboard was working, of course, but my bottom half was frozen. So let me just see. Okay, yeah, so literally I had no idea, so I did a whole stream. Now thankfully the MIDI half was working and the notation was working and they had the charts and everything, but that was frustrating. I didn't realize it till the stream was over and nobody said a word. But all right, so here's what we're going to do. I titled this, or somewhere in the title, 3.0 because this has been this is probably the best year for the courses and updates that I think that we've ever had at iMusicAcademy. When I first came out with all the different courses, it was pretty kind of clunky the way I did it. I didn't know any better, but everything was on Vimeo. It was one long file. If you wanted to go from Blues Example 1 through 10, you had to fast forward, or I didn't know how to chop it all up and to make it look nice. And then version 2 ended up where we chopped them all up. Now let's talk about version 3. Version 3 I'm so excited about. I use these myself, and I have a student group that's been with me since for over a year and a half now. 6 people, and I'm gonna give them a shout. I'm gonna give them, anyone who's in my student group, I'm gonna give a shout out every single lesson. They know this. Dave P, Dave W, Claire, T-Man, Peter, Ian, and Roy. Thank you guys for supporting iMusicAcademy, and thank you, my YouTube channel. Thank you guys for getting us over. I think we're at 14,000 and something now, and email list is growing, and we have one video that's coming up on 1 million views, which it's my absolute worst video in terms of quality, but the content has seemed to have helped some people. So let's talk about these versions and we'll dig right into the lesson. So here's the game changer. So many of you have purchased my blues bundles and things like that before, and throughout the years I have updated courses as we go along and try to make them better and things like that. So moving forward, I have a new system with all my courses. I've been updating everything, but for instance, the most recent course, Blues Volume 4, you see everything now has a clickable index. And for instance, what we're going to do today is we're going to go right to example 10. Now, I put the link in the description, so you guys go ahead and check that out. Download it. I want you to have it forever. Just do me a favor, leave me a like and perhaps a comment just to say hello. But isn't this nice? We have a clickable index that takes you right to the chart, whatever chart, and of course detailed fingerings. And then if I wanted to actually watch that, I just click it, and guess what? It takes me right to the YouTube thing. And then if I hit the back button, it'll take me right back. And then at any time, if I want to go back to the index, I just click that. So this is the game changer. And if you guys have been around iMusicAcademy and you purchased my courses before, you know what a game changer this is. And it looks fantastic on iPhone, any tablet, and of course computer. But this is one of the game changers at iMusicAcademy. So I have once again had this student group of the guys that I just mentioned, and we do 4 lives a week. So every Monday through Thursday, mostly, sometimes Fridays, we do lessons, and it's just a lot of fun. So thank you for the likes that are already coming in on this thing, and let's go ahead and dig in. I'm going to give you guys not only a lesson on this example 10, but go ahead and give you other ideas just to encourage you to build some. We can build some confidence with some simple ideas, some simple shapes. And I'm also going to talk about 3 important scales that I mentioned to my email list a few minutes ago. So I'm going to go ahead and click on example 10. It's going to take me right there. And then the first thing is this example. If I start on the right note, would be the 3rd up to the root. And what I like about this example is no matter what key you're in, the same thing applies, the same fingering all the way down. So notice what's happening here. The first thing I'm going to do is visualize my thumb on the third of whatever key we're in. So in this case, we're doing a C blues, and we have the third up to the root, 1 to 5, and you come down, cross over with your second finger chromatically down, and now you're on the ninth up to the flat 7. So you have this pattern. And guess what? You can come down even more, chromatically down, and now you're at the root and the 6th note of the scale, chromatically down, and now you're at the flat 7 and 5th. Now, for the sake of learning this stuff, we're going to break it up into sections, because I think anyone can learn anything. You just have to know how to do it, right? We have to break things down. If we just said, all right, go ahead and do this, and go down and do the fingers, all that, that'll scare most people off, including me, if I'm trying to learn something. The way you're going to do it is you break it into sections. You say, all right, we can do that right there. Third, up to the root, chromatically down. So let me practice that. And I'm going to put this with my left hand, very simple bass line. So my bass line is root 5th to root 6th. And I want you to make sure that if you can do this fingering 5-2 to 5-1, I prefer that. And also don't drag your pinky, right? Sometimes people try to play it like this and they don't really repeat. But I want you to repeat your C note at the bottom. So pinky, pinky. And the way you get good at bass lines is practicing them hands separate and of course hands together. So as we work on this, I'm going to show you how to practice with hands separately as well as hands together. There are a few things to help you lock up the hands. All right, now, as I was telling you to do the quarter note, we're actually going to do what's in Blues Volume 4 here. And those of you guys who have Blues Volume 4, you know that this whole chorus is based on this particular bass line. And what's happening in this bass line is it's outlining a triad, C, E, and G, right? So already, it doesn't matter what key I'm in, it's going to be the same fingering, 5, 3, 1. And the trick to this bass line is where does the middle finger line up? It's the and of 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2. So it kind of has that New Orleans feel. I love teaching the way the hands work together, and for my students I've been doing a lot of exercises like that have the syncopated offbeat feel. And if you'd like to learn more about that, just email me, Bob at iMusicAcademy, and say I'd like one of those charts, and I'll be happy to send that over to you guys. But let's go ahead again and talk about this bass line. You got to get your reps in, right? We're building muscle memory, and if I hadn't practiced this before hands separate, I couldn't be having a conversation with you guys as I'm doing this, right? This is muscle memory. And then the way you lock things up with your right hand is by, one, straightening out. I'm going to give you guys a very important classical tip. When I started learning classical music, it was the same time that I started learning jazz at the same time, but I figured out some really cool practice strategies, and one of those that works really well for blues, jazz, or anything is doing this. Straightening everything out and slowing it down. Sounds very simple, but this is where the magic is. If I take this example here, and those of you we have 7 people watching, make sure you not only like this video and be brave enough to comment just to say hello, but grab this PDF that I put the link, and it'll take you 5 seconds to download it so that you have the fingerings, and just want to give that to you and dig into this stuff together. So watch this. I start on here and I go to the third finger up to the root. So third up to the root of C. And if I put the left hand, I'm thinking slow and straight. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Let me stop there and do it again. Where does the left hand and the right hand line up? 1 and 2 and 1. Again, 1 and 2. I just noticed something. Hold up a second. Hold up a second. All right, the version that I just put up is not the right version of this course. It's missing the third in the bass line. Okay, so download the chart, but just know that another one is coming. I have no idea how that slipped past the goalie, but it did. Okay, what should be there is C to and. It should be an E there, right? C up to E and then up to G. I have no idea why it's written there, a C octave, which is a very important concept to do, but not for this video. Okay, so here we go. Let's try this again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So what you're looking for is, where does the middle finger line up? 1 and 2 and. The E lines up with the E flat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So then the G lines up with the D. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then the G lines up with the D. And then guess what? Starts over. The C's are together. 4 and 1 and 2 and. That's another important note. The E lines up with the B. Oh, let me do that again. And 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. That's a good place to stop on that part. And 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, now you guys see how that works, the simple part of breaking down the first section. Now I'm going to skip down to the second line where it starts on the F chord when it does this. We'll just do that much so far. So we have third up to the root, chromatically down, 1 and 2, and the A lines up with the A flat. Oh, there's the F again together, up to the 6th, and then chromatically down to the flat 7 and the 5th. Now, here's a really, really important thing, is that as we're going through these, if I'm working on transposing this, working on this lick for C, I'm thinking the C scale, third up to the root. When I change to F, I'm thinking third root up to F. Third up to root and chromatically down to the 9th up to the flat 7, and then there's my root 6th and then the flat 7, because F major has one flat and it's B flat. So when I say flat 7, I'm saying a flat 7 of F scale, so a third up to the root. When I go to the G chord, which is down the next line, then it's 3 up to root, 9 up to flat 7, root 6th, 2 flat 7 and 5th of a G scale. Really important to know our major scales, and that's one thing that I think is really, really important and worth the effort, effort that you put in learning your major scales. Because if we know our major scales and we really learn them, we can basically we can take any pattern, any chord, and put it in any key that we want. And what's great about a pattern like this is we're using the same fingering for every single key. So let me give you an improv tip. Let's say we're working on a C blues, and I'm just going to switch the bass line to the root 5th, root 6th. You guys that have been hanging around with my iMusicAcademy, you know my very first example, the very first video that's so popular, has the 8th note bass line of root 5th to root 6th, right? But you can even make it more simple by just doing quarter notes, 2, 3, 4. But I can do this as a good exercise. Third up to the root, and end flat 7 and 5th of C. So if I went up to F and did the same thing, third up to the root, now that's a flat 7 and 5th of F. Now watch on G, right? And then F, and then C. Okay, so let's talk about, as we're learning this particular example, and then again, let me check the chat just to see if anybody has said hello. Awesome. Hey, that is very awesome that you would put that in the chat. I'm glad. I'm not worried at all of how many people, but I do very much hear and value what you're saying. That's really cool. I love it when people comment just to kind of see where. I mean, the fact that somebody from Germany is able to pop on this live and hopefully get something out of it, which I've obviously expressed that you are getting something out of it. That means a lot to me. And email me at any time, you, Wayfarer, or anyone else, Bob at iMusicAcademy.com, just to say hello. And I always love to help people any way I can. And I'm always looking for, ways to connect with people. I think it's really important. And I love the community aspect of iMusic Academy. And anyway, it's really important to stay connected to people. So thank you for that. Thank you guys for the likes that are coming in. It helps me know that you're with me and that you're enjoying this. Okay, so as you download this chart, just know that you're learning a lick, but you're also training your ear at the same time. 3 up to root, chromatically down. Now, in this specific example, there's something that really cool that happens. If you play this pattern going down, 3 up to root, chromatically down, keep going down. Now watch what happens here. I'm on the flat 7 of a C scale up to the 5th. Now watch what happens. I'm going to go down, instead of chromatically, I'm going to go down a whole step, and then I wind up on the 5th and 3rd, and then guess what? I can start over again. So that one little thing can make me go all the way down. So now I can do this. Now I'm going to freeze or go slow, whole step. And then instead of chromatically down, I'm going to approach the minor 3rd below, a half step below that 3rd that I started on, and then I can keep going down. So sometimes people will hear me and I do it really fast, and they're like, how in the world did you do that? Well, all I'm doing is very slowly doing this, and then it starts over. In fact, in a jazz context, sometimes just for fun, I like to take it, like there's a rhythm changes is a really cool jazz progression. And then on the bridge of the song, it does D7, G7, C7, F7. And what you can do is this. D7, G7, to C7, to F7. So it naturally, G7, C7, F7, and then it starts over, which is kind of fun there. So, awesome. No way. From Africa, that is so cool. You guys, this is making my day. I have people from my 6 students that have been with me for over a year and a half. They're scattered throughout the world, and I absolutely love this. I'm learning music from different countries, which is so cool. So greetings, awesome. Okay, so guys, download that PDF, and let's talk about some simple. I want to give you guys some things that are really going to help you out. And let me pull up a different chart real quick, so you guys have that and you guys know what to do. The right hand is correct, but just know I'm going to update that chart. And if you email me, connect with me, Bob at iMusicAcademy.com, I'll fix that left-hand bass line. I don't know why it's written like that, but even if you don't email me, just know that it's a triad. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And you can practice it like this. So then you could go to F, same thing on G, and you practice that bass line. But also you could practice it with the quarter notes. Yeah, so the example that I just played, this right here, I just put that on YouTube yesterday, and it's already getting a lot of love with likes and comments and things like that, and that's from Blues Volume 1. But it's so funny because I said, like, impress your friends with that particular lick. All of this stuff, no matter what I do, it's very doable. You just have to know how to break it down. So even if you watch the video that I put up yesterday, all it is a C triad in second inversion, and you slide from the minor third to major third, cross over with your middle finger and your pinky for an F chord for just a second, and then you go minor third to major third. So you had this, and then it doesn't matter what key, because I'm using the same your same transposition ideas. F triad, one more time. I'll do it F, G, now again, if you just learn something like that where you do, okay, you're sliding off the third and crossing over, and that's the fourth, and that's the root. So no matter what key I go, sliding from the third, and I do that, and I same thing on G. I build up this muscle memory, and then guess what else happens? Listen to this. G. Now listen to this. I could go. You get the idea. Once you learn these patterns and you get some confidence there, it doesn't matter what your bass line is, because you've already built up some finger memory, and you could play quarter notes, you could play bass notes, you could do like this, you go. Or this. Now, the only reason that I could even do that is because I practiced the left hand by itself, right? I know how to build muscle memory up. We do that all the time. I teach you guys how to do different bass lines, but you have to put in the work to get them to where you can kind of own this kind of bass line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, so here we go. We're going to pull up a couple more PDFs. Probably going to go another... Let me see what time it is so that I make sure I honor everybody's time at the same time my own. Okay, so 2:15. I'll go to 2:15, so another 20 minutes or so. And one of my favorite people, Jane, she said I was fading in and out. Somebody can verify that or not? Okay, so let's talk about 3 important scales. Let me see if I can pull up this other chart here. I tell you what, before I show you that, and I will in just a second, as I mentioned, I have this amazing group of students, and each week we do, again, 4 or 5 lessons. And over this past year and a half, we've taken scales, like how do you turn blues scales and jazz scales, and how do you turn it into music? And one of the ways is you learn how to turn things around to create melodies, and you build confidence and things like that. And one of the things that I like to do is take things like the blues scale, turn it around a little bit, and make songs out of it. Now, if you guys can see, this song is called I See a Pattern Blues. And there are 3, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this. I'm just going to show you a couple fun little patterns, and then we'll talk about a couple of key things wrapping up. Okay, so if you play the blues scale, everybody needs to know the blues scale. 1, flat 3, 4, and then you use your 4th finger for the F sharp, and then your 5th finger, your flat 7, your root. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is your fingering. 1, 2, 3. Now this is a minor blues scale. Okay. Now there are 3 specific blues scales that we're going to learn today. I'm going to teach them to you right now, and then we're going to learn this song. Okay. So this is the minor blues scale. If somebody says play a C minor blues scale, this is it. And I want you to learn this. I even break this down into 2 particular shapes. You have your first 5 notes of the blues scale. And what I like to do, and I sent this out to my email list, is I have this beginning blues sheet, and it has this written out for both hands, which is very simple, but very important. When I began my classical studies, you learn things for finger exercises like Hanon, if you guys have heard of that before. And basically what that is, starting on C, you skip a white note, lay all your fingers down. You're not trying to do this fast, you're trying to do it slow, but you're working every single finger. The same with this particular exercise, first 5 notes of the blues scale. And what I like to teach is that each finger is hovering over a note. And so when you play it all together, it sounds horrible, right? But if I'm playing a blues scale, a blues bass line, and I just go up and down, right? I can do that. Automatic pilot. And then I can turn it around. I cheated and went down to that B flat. Okay, so that is our shape 1, right? When I'm teaching basic blues, I feel like anyone can learn how to play the blues in a few minutes if you learn these simple ideas. I mean, that is literally my hand just going over each note of this blues scale, five notes, and all of those are going to work no matter what blues scale I'm on. What chord I'm on in the blues. If I'm playing a C blues, I'm going to go to the F chord but not change the right hand. And the same thing on G. Okay, so that's shape 1. Now guess what happens if you follow up after your F sharp with your 4th finger, and then you put your thumb on G, B flat, C, and you go up to the E flat on top. Now you have the top half of the blues scale, which is, guess what, shape number 2. I absolutely love this because a lot of things are happening in shape number 2. You have the 5th, the flat 7, the root, and the minor 3rd. Now, let me just make sure. I'm going to put my music over here just a little bit so I can check on the chat just to see if anybody else. 1 second. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's very helpful to know. Okay, so let me move this over. So I want to make sure I can see you guys in the chat more than I can see myself to make sure. Okay, so this top half of the blues scale is such an important thing because this minor 3rd on the top, so you have a C scale, the 3rd, and if you flat it, now you have that tension, that nice tension from a blues, right? You're going, right? All right, so to me, even this is a gold mine, right? You have the first 5 notes to make melodies with, and you also have the top half. So if I just had those 2 shapes, I could change the bass line, right? I could go up, or I could go, playing a little faster than I would normally play it, just so I can have more time to go through some of this content. Playing it a lot slower and a lot groovier would be the way to go. But right now, I just want to get some more things in this live. So let me show you a cool trick. So you have this as shape 1. We're calling shape 1. Shape 2 is the top half of the blues scale, and your 4th finger is what I always tell people as you're transitioning throughout the keyboard. For the key of C, is you want this F sharp to be the anchor sort of that helps transition everything together. Shape 1, and I visualize getting to that F sharp, and guess what? I'm home free here. Now here's where the cool part happens. If I go down 3 half steps, 1, 2, 3, and I play the A blues scale, I could play the first 5 notes, but I'm just going to stop at 4. Now guess what? Because A is the relative minor, okay? We don't need to talk a bunch of theory right now, but it's a closely related key. You have C major, shares the same notes as A minor, same white notes, right? But I'm playing an A minor blues scale over a C blues. Listen to how this works. So here's my first shape. Now I'm going to go down 3 half steps. Okay, so we have this. Even though I went to F, okay, so you see what happens right there? You're already unlocking a very important thing. You're unlocking, well, the 6th note of a blues scale. And if you hang around at iMusicAcademy, you know that one of my favorite notes is the 6th note of the blues scale. Who is ready to dig in to the A note on the blues scale? Just put it in the chat. Let me know you guys are still awake. And in the meantime, one of the licks that is in Blues Volume 1 does this. Which actually unlocks a very important scale, the major blues scale. Now, who's ready to learn about the major blues scale? I'm just going to dig right in. Is that you have what's called the major pentatonic scale, C, D, E, G, and A. The major pentatonic scale is the 1, the 2, the 3, the 5, and the 6 of the scale. Penta meaning 5, okay? So pentatonic scale is in major is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 of the scale. When we have a major blues scale, here's the notes we're looking for. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, but also that flat third. So now you have this. All right, you have this. Boom, da, da, boo, da, da, da. All right, again. Boom, doo, da, boo, da, da, da. Again. Boom, boo, doo, da, boo. So you have boom. Da, da, boo, da, 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 da. So this idea of the pentatonic scale along with that flat third is about to open up a whole new set of ideas. And let me tell you why it does, is because one, you have this idea of the 6th note, which gives a nice major kind of sound, but also when you have the major blues scale that puts the minor third and the major third together, guess what happens? Is you have this idea of a little bit of release, right, of having that major third. We don't just want a blues scale approach with just blues scale notes, right? Nobody's going to like that. But if you put a little major sound, so I hope you hear it, is that, yeah, it's great to be able to do that minor third and minor third, but hearing that major sound is like a a nice resolution, right? You could go 2 3 5 2 3 5, a triplet feel, so 1 and then 2 in. That's just triad, and then minor third. Let me try to do it right. Now watch what happens if I'm just playing the C major C major blues scale. Watch what happens when I go to F. I can actually do the same thing in the key of F. 1 2 flat 3 3 5 6. So now we have G. Right? You have boom, doo, 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 doo. Okay, now let's take it to another level. So if you had this idea, I want to tell you something that my student group helped me figure out. So out of my 6 guys, is it 6 or 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. 6 of them have been with me for over a year and a half, faithfully every week, and we have 4 lives a week, and we've created all like 50 songs out of all these blues ideas. And so one of the things that they did is they said, we want to learn some Ray Charles. So we worked on What I'd Say, and I did all kinds of PDFs on how to play like Ray Charles, and so I had to learn What I'd Say and the cool things that Ray Charles would do with that, which are unbelievable. But along the way, I discovered something that I had sort of been doing, but not in this way, and that is to use different kinds of fingerings that I normally wasn't using. Like the first one I think I did was like. So the idea of this is almost like, coming from at first a classical background and a jazz background, the idea of using 2, 3 to slide and then 4 or 5 just seemed kind of weird to me. But then I started noticing how the sound became so much more hip, is the best way I could say, is to learn it. And so my students are the reason that I sort of learned about that, and even about that particular style. So then it started making me think, well, if you take a blues lick, now this blues lick is in Blues Volume 1 and it's in the Easy Jazz Course, but it's just like this, but I played it like this. So I had been sliding, I've been doing that since I've been playing, sliding off white notes to black notes, which is really important. But now we're doing things where you're doing like 2, 3, 3. So you're doing this kind of motion, which sounds really weird to think about using this kind of fingering. And at the same time, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's difficult, but it's different than we're used to if you haven't done that, right? 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, for instance. But even practicing instead of this, but practicing it like, is really important to learn how to do. So 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. Isn't that a cool sound? Like, so all those are together, and I could go, try to do 1, 2, 3, which is probably something I would have done a long time ago, but it's just so different when you do 1, 2, 2, 3. But we have to learn how to do that. And even from a Ray Charles standpoint, even if we were doing that, same lick, same thing could apply if I was just playing a blues lick. Okay, so let's talk. So that's the major blues scale, and then you have this. This is a fun one. If you have, we just did the major blues scale, and then if you have a hybrid where you do the minor blues scale, which is C, E flat, F, F sharp, and then you do the top half as major blues scale. It's kind of like a C6 blues scale. So now you have this sound. So it's a mixture between sounding really bluesy to a happy blues there. And you can even do that trick right there where you do 1, 2, 2. Let's try it. All right, so let's go on to the last one is what we've already done. The third blues scale is just the minor pentatonic blues scale. Really, the minor blues scale is what I meant to say, not pentatonic. It's important to know that. So we did 3 blues scales. Just do a quick repeat, and then we'll finish up by doing this other blues song called I See a Pattern Blues. The first one is the major blues scale. 1, 2, flat 3, 3, 5, 6, root. The second one is the hybrid. So it's first four notes of the blues scale, first 5 notes, and then A and C. And then the last one is just the minor blues, up and down. And your 4th finger helps transition. Okay? All right, so then let's talk about I See a Pattern Blues. Let me pull that up. Thank you for the likes and the comments and telling me where you guys are from. That's awesome. Germany and Africa. Love it. Okay. All right, so the first thing is I See a Pattern Blues is that this is just, I see a pattern, and the lyrics say, the more I look, more I play, I see a pattern. Well, this is the blues scale, but what makes this musical is, yes, it's important to play your blues scale going up and down, but even starting on the and gives it some life. Listen. Again. So even when I go to the F chord, I'm on the flat 7 of F and the root and the 5th. And then it does this. This idea is the tritone. What's a tritone? It's the sharp 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 of the scale, and you sharp it. Now, Oscar Peterson, all these cool, awesome things that Oscar Peterson, when I first started playing piano, he was the first person that I listened to, and he would do those crazy tritone licks, right? A tritone is the sharp 4 away from whatever we're in, and I was always amazed with his sound using those. And so notice that all these notes are part of the blues scale, right? When I go da dee da bo da bo da bo, that just has a nice sound by itself. I could just stay there. Okay, so all I was doing there, through that whole time, I'm playing the chart called I See a Pattern Blues. And it's a blues scale starting on the and of 1 that already gives it some life. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and Listen to the difference. If I just start right on it, it doesn't have the same feel, but if I do this, so if I just took that idea along with the tritone example, and then maybe I want to take one more idea that we've practiced today, and maybe it's this, where we started, right? We did. What I would do if I was going to add that one thing, I would start with the blues scale first. So maybe. So what I call that, what I was just doing, and I'm sure you heard it, it was just restricting myself to what I was going to allow myself to do, and then just having fun with it, right? Like sometimes I start and it didn't work, I'm here. But then I said, all right, I'm just going to stay until it feels good. How about this? I go maybe. You get the idea. You guys have had fun. I've had a blast. We got to 10 likes. That's pretty cool. So thank you guys for hanging out. I want to make sure I see the chat. And just a reminder, in case anybody is sliding in at the last minute, to download this chart. It'll take you 5 seconds to download. And only remember that the left hand is wrong. So I have no idea. I just think I put up the wrong version, but it's supposed to be C, E, G. And right now it's C, G, C. C, E, but the right hand is correct. Oh, which a fun fact for those of you who saw my video yesterday on The one that's really popular right now, I put it up last night. It's this one that we went over. Right. I think I put that chart on my Twitter channel. So iMusicAcademy is on Twitter. I post there often, and you can screenshot that or just download it. You can hit save to your device, and it's detailed fingering of how to play that example from yesterday on YouTube. And I would love to hear from you. If you want to email me, bob@imusicacademy.com. And then once again, just want to say thank you for hanging out. This is my first time in a while that I've done a live for iMusic Academy, because 4 days a week I'm going live for my awesome friends at iMusic Academy, Dave P, Dave W, Claire, T-Man, Peter, Ian, and Roy. And we're having a lot of fun together. And if you're interested at any point on figuring out what we're doing, or you want to be a part of our group, just email me, bob@iMusicAcademy, and we'll talk through it. But my main idea today was to hang out with you and also tell you how excited I am to have these new versions at iMusic Academy. All of my courses now have the clickable indexes, and let me just go back to it one more time. How cool is this? I'm going to go back to the beginning. I am blown away with how much fun it is to do this now. I'm going to show you, as we close out, I'm going to show you one thing. So, example 5. Look how easy it is to get there. And then if I wanted to go to the video, boom, I just hit that, and in seconds, I'm at the right video. I'm telling you guys, I'm so happy for this. I practice these things myself, just so you know. But here's what I'm going to leave you guys with, just a thought. So my favorite triad is the second inversion triad. And for instance, in this example, so we go, oh, actually, yeah. So you're harmonizing the C7 scale with second inversion triads. And you can do this chromatically, listen. So you have C, D minor, C7, and then you go F, G minor, and A minor. But what's cool is you can use these chromatically. C chord, B, B flat. Sorry. And then watch it, A minor. And then F. And this is written as an exercise. And the exercise is knowing that you can go C, if you're in the key of C, chromatically down, and you get to the 6th A minor and go chromatic, and now you're down to G minor. Those work. And then F up to G works, and then you end on the C again. Cool. C second inversion triads, and then when you go to F is the same thing. Anyway, that's just a fun little extra tip. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and say hello by emailing me or leaving a comment. Have a great rest of your weekend, and